If you try to sell online courses, you'll figure out pretty quickly that you need to spend a lot of money on a lot of different software tools every single month just to keep the lights on. You got your website, you got your landing page builder with your upsells and your funnels. Then you have your course host itself, the LMS, where people log in and actually, take the courses. Add in email marketing, maybe a video host or a community app, you're spending a ton of cash. So Skillplate has a simple solution here. Buy the AppSumo lifetime deal they're currently offering, and with one login, you get to do basically everything that I just mentioned. Now, I got access to said AppSumo lifetime deal, made a fresh account, and spent a very long time trying to break the tool. Some of Skillplate is genuinely very good. Other parts I was able to break. I'm going to tell you all about it in this video, and we'll even do a little bit of LTD math that might surprise you if you only read the top price that, you can get access to this tool for just 79 bucks. I'm Dave, by the way, and this is a hands-on look at Skillplate, the AppSumo offer that's currently available right now, which you can check with my link in the description. Now, full disclosure here, AppSumo is sponsoring this video, and my continued thanks to them for their support, but they have no oversight over the content that I create. AppSumo is just one of my favorite places to shop for software, and I recommend you shop there as well. Like most AppSumo deals, the deal for Skillplate is a tiered offering. Tier 1 starts at 79 bucks. It's a very attractive price. It gets you in the door, but you might find you want to actually buy a higher priced offering that's going to add more contacts, more active students, and you get more video storage and more streaming time. Yeah, that's right. You can use this tool as your video host as well. A very nice addition in my opinion. Now, the deal prices and features are prone to updates, so always check the live page. I got that link I just mentioned. Go check that out before making any plans for what you're actually going to purchase. I can't be held responsible when the price eventually does increase, because it always does. Now, Skillplate is aimed at creators, people who want to create courses, digital downloads, maybe bundle stuff together, do coaching style offers, all of that. You get it inside of one member portal. You get Stripe checkouts, a website. That's right, it's got a full website builder in it. Pretty good one, I might add. And then you even have a community in one place. And I should say that in quotes, because the community feature was a bit underwhelming. I'll tell you all about that in a moment as well. Basically, you can think about like Teachable, Thinkific, Kajabi type of a replacement, all inside of one product that's not quite as developed as those yet, but you get it at an AppSumo price, a one-time fee, and a pretty reasonable one at that. Now, throughout this video, I want you to keep three things in mind. These are three things that I think will decide whether or not you might want to buy this tool. One is the AI course builder, what it actually produces. AI is obviously huge right now, and Skillplate is using AI to help sell their product. Is it really an AI course builder, or is AI just kind of bolted on, as we've all seen in other products? Next, let's talk about what community really means here and whether it was a worthy addition to the product. And finally, the platform commissions, because this is a very good one-time offer, but there are commissions baked right under the hood that you can pay extra to get removed. But if you just buy the $79 plan, you're going to end up spending quite a bit of money on paying commissions when you actually get sales. It's good and bad here, right? Because if you don't make any sales, you don't have any commissions to pay, which keeps the cost lower. We'll get into all of that in a little bit. At the end of the video, I'll give you my final score. Spoiler alert, it's not a 10 out of 10, but hey, it's not a 0 either. This is actually a very usable product if you're trying to sell courses and you don't want to do everything yourself or have an infinite budget. Okay, so let's talk about the actual setup. What's it like to get started with Skillplate? Very interestingly, they have an option to do a chat style setup agent. I actually took advantage of this. It goes through and asks you what type of currency you want to use, what's the name of your school or your business, what you're going to be selling, what your revenue goals are, who your audience is, invoice addresses, and then even connects you up and sets up your Stripe account for you. By the way, you do need Stripe if you want to sell your products on this platform. It's the only payment provider that they currently support, but there is an API. So if you are a developer or you're friendly with some AI that could possibly rig things up for you, you could integrate with other platforms and then sell access over there and give people access through the API. But it would take a little bit more involvement than most people are willing to do. Now, getting back to that AI setup situation, overall, I kind of like the idea, a guided setup that beats the blank purple dashboard that you see when you first log in. But the fit and finish of the actual experience was a little bit uneven. It really wasn't too bad, but it did get confused with what my business name was. I think that's primarily my fault because it asked what my name was and what type of business we are kind of in one question, and I answered on one line. So then it took that whole line and put it as the title of the business. I just split up, no big deal, but something to note that it's not like really discerning and it's not going to go research you and figure out what your name was. If it did that, it would have no problem filling out this form. So after that, I kept answering its questions. It captured my address correctly, but then on the user interface for it, it smashed the entire address onto one line. It didn't look like a human had laid this out. It gave a little bit of like vibe coded overtones. I'm not saying this app is vibe coded or even if it's a bad thing that it was, but the fit and finish, like I talked about, this is a young product. It has the rough edges. It needs to be refined a little bit. Another example was like when I was editing that address to make sure it was entered correctly, there's a cancel button and a discard button that were basically like smashed together. They were overlapping completely. It's just little tells that show this product was not given the Steve Jobs paint both sides of the fence type of treatment when it went into production. The AI agent during the setup process also kind of cheers for you when you give answers like, here's my goal. I want to make such and such amount of money. Hey, fantastic answer, Dave. That's totally achievable. That's fine for an answer or two, but when it's every single answer, it gets to be a little bit annoying, especially if you're thinking that the AI is going to be more of a collaborator, help you brainstorm ideas and things like that. Not so much. It's more just filling out the application for you, filling out your settings. At least at this stage of the game. There is AI you can use later on, but when you're going through this initial setup, it's basically just entering in the general settings for you. That said, the Stripe connection worked cleanly, answered all my questions, configured things as needed. It's more important that that gets done than I get a little bit irritated by some cheerleading. If money can't move in, then nothing else counts, so I was glad that the Stripe connection worked smoothly. Now, if you don't want to do the AI setup, there is an old-fashioned kind of setup wizard where you're supposed to go through and accomplish some things. One of those is your brand controls, which I thought were very basic, but in a good way. Set your logo, set light and dark mode, choose your fonts, add an accent color, and then maybe the corner radius for things like buttons or boxes. One addition I'd love to see to the brand controls is text color on the buttons. It just kind of chooses what it thinks is going to be easiest to read based on your accent color, but I disagree, and I would love to be able to change in my particular situation where I chose a bright yellow accent color. I'd like to have dark text on it. I think it looked a lot better, but it chose light text, and there's nothing I can do about it. Well, there is CSS editing, so I could add in some CSS. I didn't bother to do that, but the field was there, so I assume it would work. Another part of the setup wizard is to create some policy pages. So I set up some policies for cookies, privacy, and terms. These are all created by default for you, by the way. One glitch that I did encounter is the template version that is created would show up for the privacy and the terms and conditions, but it would not generate for the cookie policy until I noticed that if I minimized it and then expanded it again, well, then lo and behold, it was actually there. So again, just kind of a cleanup, probably a JavaScript loading thing is all that's going on. Nerdy stuff that needs to be cleaned up on the back end. Next up, I set up a custom domain. This was super easy. It just gives you an A record, and then you go over to your registrar. I used Cloudflare and I set that all up, and it was working instantly. Really no delay there at all. Very, very smooth experience. So if you want to buy this and use it with your root domain, you could definitely do that. It could be your entire main website. All right, on to the main event. Let's use the AI course builder. I wanted to create a course and I called it the Hermes Agent Mastery course. I wanted it to be 99 bucks and I was off and running. Essentially, you just fill out this course builder by giving it the topic, your audience, like who's going to actually take the course, what language you're making it in, and then how long is the course? Is it a short, medium, or large course? It calls the course length size, which is just kind of not right to me. It should be length, but whatever, I'm nitpicking here. After you fill that out, you just hit generate, and then like maybe 20, 30 seconds later, you've got a curriculum there in front of you. Now, it does not build out the entire course for you, but it does give you modules and then puts lessons inside of those modules, about 3 to 4 lessons per module. And then you can also add in things like certificates and quizzes, so you have a full-blown course. Well, you have an empty course. At least you have the outline of a course. You've got your modules and your lessons, but if you open those up in the editor, you essentially have an empty course that you can add a video to or write a written description. There is an AI guide there, so if you want to use AI to help you compose the course, you can do that, but it's not going to like just automatically generate a full course for you without any input. That would be kind of useless and kind of scammy feeling, so I'm glad they did not go that direction. So just to be perfectly clear here, the AI course creator will give you an outline. It will not actually create the course for you. Make sure you understand that, because if you're buying this tool because it has AI course creation, you will still need to record, write, and actually teach the information. The tool is going to save you time structuring your information and can even assist in the actual course creation, but it does not replace the overall work. Like, you still want to have a personality. That's why people will buy your online courses, is because you're a compelling teacher. If you're not, they can just ask ChatGPT themselves. 2 more small things that are just kind of nitpicking, but I always like to throw these into the video. When I was doing the onboarding with the AI, it asked me about the first product I wanted to create. So I told it all about it, but then it just kind of was like, I'm going to hand this off to someone else, and nothing really happened. There was no further instructions. So I had to click on the button to try the AI course creator and just tell it again. This is not the end of the world, but it was a little bit of a continuity issue where if I was a new user and maybe not very comfortable with this technology, I probably would have just gotten stuck there and not known just to re-explain things again. So there you go. Not a big deal, but the switch from onboarding into actually building a course could be smoother. I'll tell you more about what it's like to actually create courses if you do it the old-fashioned way in a second, but let's talk about what it looks like for your students. When they log in and they start taking your course, the experience is actually super fast, really good navigation, nice looking interface. If you've ever tried to build a course on something like WordPress, you know that the experience can be very slow for your users. Click, wait for it to load. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's an eternity when you're going through a very long course. So I was really pleased with how quickly I was able to switch between different lessons. It was really just instantaneous. Okay, so when you get into your actual course and you're editing it without using any AI, you get to set up your pricing options. By default, they made the course that I created free. I don't know if that's what it does all the time, but it's what it did inside of the AI course builder. Then you can also have the options for a one-time purchase, like an LTD, installments, so you can do split payments essentially, or subscriptions, which is great because you've kind of got all of your bases covered here. You can sell ongoing subscriptions or maybe a high price ticket item that's split up into monthly payments. Anything you can imagine is good there. They also have a feature they called compare at price. I felt like this was a little confusing and could, do for a little bit more explanation. Compare at price would be like your sale price or what the original price was, assuming you're discounting at all times. That's really, when you look at the landing page on the other side, that's really what they're doing. Like, okay, the original price is $199 and you're selling it for $99. You're getting, 50% off of the price. That's what they're trying to get to. It's just not explained very clearly in the interface. And I like the option to just turn that off because not everyone wants to be on sale at all times. In fact, I think that's actually even illegal, even though no one really enforces it. I digress. There's other options here that are very cool, like doing cross sales so that when people log into their student portal, you can offer other products. And it is easy to turn that on and off. Some people might find that tacky, other people find it a must-have. So you got the choice. And it will build a landing page for you for every single product. You just toggle a little switch, and then you've got your landing page. You can easily click to copy that page and then share it with all of your followers or whoever you're selling to. Very easy to link to those products. But if you don't want to use that landing page, maybe you have your website on another platform, well, they've got payment links, which are great because that'll take people right to the cart. So maybe you're doing your sales in a YouTube video like this one, and you just want to drop the payment link in so people don't have to read through a long sales page. They just impulse buy. You got that option as well. So really covering a lot of bases here. And I liked the way it was all just there for you. You don't have to think about it. Just it's click, copy, you're good to go. Last thing on the payment types, I just want to mention that the installment wording is confusing to me. I might be the only one here, but I didn't know if the number that I was going to type in was going to be the price that got split 4 ways or it was per payment. The reason I stopped to think about that is back to that old compare at price option, which is still there if you choose the installments option. So I'm saying, well, this is $30. Let's say I want to sell something for $30 for payments, so $120 total, but normally it's $199. Am I saying that it's going to be $30 compared to $199? That's the way it reads. And in fact, if you look at the landing page, it even shows that price is discounted 85% when it's not. It would be a lower discount amount if you were to do it at $100 to be 50% off. And if you buy it for $120, you do the math, but it's going to be less than 50% off. I know that much. I did go to public school, but just kind of like a communication thing on the back end that doesn't make sense. And on top of that, there's a math issue on the front end. It's going to be misleading to customers because you're not giving them a better deal if they're paying in installments. Let's talk about that landing page, by the way. It's not that configurable, but I think it looks very good. I like that they used a Udemy-shaped interface because if you're used to buying courses on big platforms, the sales pages all kind of look like this. You got your curriculum to the left and then your sticky purchase box over to the right. There is an educator block, so you can fill in information about who's actually teaching the course and add in some testimonials. It's a pretty competent template. I was happy with how everything looked. The one thing I would like to add is in the top section, it would be really nice if you could add in a promo video up there. You can add a video, but it's going to be in the description down below the actual curriculum. So if there were a way to add in a dedicated video section that lived in that top menu bar, like right below the course title, I think that would be really effective. I'd also urge you to pay very close attention to the accent color you chose in the branding setup section. By the way, if you want to change that later, it just lives inside of settings. So it's very easy to change all of your branding options that you set in the setup wizard. But the accent color ends up becoming like a giant banner on all of these sales pages, which is okay. But if you chose a color you thought was like the button color, and then it ends up taking, 3/4 of the screen when a landing page loads, that's a very different effect. And so you'll have to be particular about the color that you choose there. Maybe adding in a dedicated theme builder for the sales pages would be a great idea for Skillplate to add in, because right now you're kind of stuck with choosing that one color and then it's just everywhere. It's too much, a very monotonous type of interface. One nice thing is they do have AI thumbnails, which you can very quickly add to your products or really to any part of the interface where an image is needed. You just type a little prompt in, it will generate an image for you, and then it just lives right there inside of your file library. So there's actually like a file manager that you can go into. It lives on the sidebar. It's very easy to get to, and then you can reuse images that you create. They're not just like living in some black hole on the SaaS server that you can never see again. Nope, you upload your logo. It's very easy to grab that in the future. It'll live on your website, but maybe you want to use it in some of your content. Really easy to grab files from your file manager and just put them right there inside of your pages. Now, courses are not the only type of product you can sell here. You can also sell digital downloads. So as an example, I uploaded a PDF. I used their AI support to help me write the copy. Then I generated a thumbnail for that actual PDF, toggled on a landing page, and I was ready to start selling. Pretty cool. I mean, like within seconds, you've got an entire checkout flow for selling a ebook or whatever it is that you want to do. In fact, you don't even have to sell things, right? You can give them away. This is just a nice way to generate leads, which will live over in the lead generation section on the left-hand sidebar. There's another type of product, by the way. So we've got digital downloads and courses, but they have something called a generic product. It's like a bucket that you can put anything in that you want. So coaching services, odd offers that have specific redemption instructions that take you off of the Skillplate platform, you can sell them as a generic product. Very useful if you have something that's kind of weird and you're not sure how to sell it, but you don't want to build a whole new website for it. Well, you can add in that generic product right inside of Skillplate and then sell it from there. You'll have all of your orders in one place. The last type of product you can sell is a community, and we'll get there, but I'm not going to talk about that quite yet. I'm going to jump right into bundles because this was done very beautifully. You choose a bunch of products that you want to sell together, and then you create a bundle, and in a matter of seconds, you've got another landing page created where people can buy a course, a download, access to your community, maybe an ebook, whatever it is that you want to, kind of stick together to try to get more value out of people. Well, it's really easy to do that in Skillplate. It's not a funnel builder per se. Like, you're not going to interchange these products with each other, but it's a really nice way to kind of continue to offer more and more value and get more and more revenue out of each of your customers. My one critique of the bundle offer is the fact that there's no product descriptions when you start to add multiple items together. So on the landing page, you see the name of the product, but you don't see a description below the title. There's a thumbnail and then a title. There's no description to show you exactly what the product is. I think it'd be great to pull in at least a short, brief description there, or maybe have an option inside of the settings. So if you mainly sell online courses or files or just simple offers for services, well, Skillplate is probably something you should test out because it's very good and it will likely do the job for you for less than the competition. But if you are interested in selling a community, that's a feature that they prominently display on their website. I need to say this plainly. The feature product inside of Skillplate is access to Discord. It's not a full native community like you get with School or Circle. There is no native feed, no forum, no in-app social experience. That's not what I tested. That doesn't exist in the current version. So as a Discord gate on top of a course or membership type of system, that could still be useful. But if it's the reason you want to buy the whole platform to sell a community, that's probably not the path I would recommend. Now, I also got to admit that that was confusing to me. I didn't expect that. So as I was testing out the community feature, I kept getting these error messages, and I assume that's because I never connected up Discord. I don't have a Discord to connect up. So I would get these errors. I saw an SQL error. I get a landing page error. It just couldn't save. Basically, what I figured out later was that I didn't have a Discord connected, so it just wasn't going to work for me at all. Now, later on, I did revisit the community feature, and some of the things that were broken were then fixed, like I wasn't able to publish something and eventually could. So I think there may have been a server issue at the same time I was doing my first round of testing that they did later recover from. But just so you know, if community is your main product, just test this out inside of your refund window. You get 60 days with AppSumo. Make sure it's going to do enough for you. Think of community as like a bonus. It's like selling access to your Discord. It's not the main product here. So once you load all of your products into Skillplate and you're ready to go, you're going to realize, hey, wait a minute, I don't have a real website. I've got all of these individual landing pages, but what happens when someone goes to like my homepage? Well, good news for you. There is a real website builder bundled into all of this, and it's pretty good. It's not Webflow, but that's a feature, not a bug. It's a very simple, easy to use website builder that regular people can pick up in a pretty small amount of time. It's not perfect. It's not blatantly obvious. Some things you got to hunt for, but overall, if you've ever used a website builder in even a small capacity, you're going to be able to figure this out with an afternoon and a little bit of patience. If you're someone who hates WordPress and you don't like digging around and going through all the menus and doing all that stuff, you're probably going to get along with this builder just fine. However, if you are a graphic designer or a web development enthusiast and the actual code that is loading has to be absolutely perfect and optimized, well, this is not the type of tool that you're going to get along with. We both know that. There's no real reason to start a riot about it in the comments, but feel free to do so if you like. This is meant for regular people that just want to get a website up and running. They give you some templates. They call them themes, but they're really templates. So you can choose the type of website that you want, click a button, and then all of the content is loaded in for you to replace with your own information. If you're expecting pixel perfect control, you're gonna get disappointed real fast, but if you just want a decent site that matches the portal and you have an afternoon, you'll be able to get there. All right, let's talk about the actual deal terms, because AppSumo lifetime deals love to have a low price next to them, but the real cost lives in all of the little details. So things like video storage and streaming minutes, they actually have a cap depending on the tier that you buy. Now, there is a unique feature here that you can actually buy additional minutes for streaming and additional storage capacity right inside of the Skillplate app. A nice little upsell section. Now, LTD purists hate this, but I actually don't mind it because tools like this need to find a way to be sustainable. So if you have the outcasts out there that are doing tons and tons of volume, well, they can probably afford to pay for extra storage. And honestly, the prices are pretty reasonable. The one part I don't really like is, at least on the deal page that I saw from AppSumo, which was for an expired deal, I got access to this tool before it was re-released. Well, the deal page says unlimited AI use, but inside the product that I was using, I had a usage meter and a few percentage was ticking by. I'd use it a little bit more, generate some images, and a few more percentage would go up. By the end of my first session, I was up to around 7%. So maybe that's just soft accounting, or maybe it becomes a wall at a certain point, but I would not bet my launch on this being truly unlimited until you fully hit that and experience that you can keep going. The most important thing to consider here is the commission rate, because Skillplate is going to take a cut of all of your sales. If you're on tier 1, they're going to take 10%, and then it goes down as you buy a higher tier, all the way up to tier 5 takes 5%. So definitely check out the live table, make sure that the terms are as you expect before you make a purchase. Again, link in the description for all of that. But it's very important to point out that you're going to be giving up a bit of a cut here, and then you also have your processing fees from Stripe. So it's, combine those together, it's going to change your business economics a little bit, especially if you're planning to run paid advertisement to actually generate sales. Now, there is a way out of the commissions, and that's found under settings, add-ons, and then you can go ahead and buy 0% commissions here for $700. Now, I think that's a pretty good deal for the people who are selling a lot of volume, but if you're just getting started and $700 is too much for you to spend right out of the gates, well, you gotta validate your business a little bit with some higher commissions, and then as you generate more money, maybe you can set some aside and eventually have 0% commissions. Not that bad of a deal, but I can see how that would be frustrating to those people who are just getting started and they gotta deal with the extra fees. One way or another, I do encourage you to do the napkin math on this if you are planning out your business. 10% on a tier 1 deal is going to be a lot more money than maybe you are expecting when you're just like, hey, 79 bucks, I can sell courses forever. That feels exciting until you realize, well, if I sell $100, I've got to give them 10 bucks. For selling 1,000, that's 100 bucks. That's going to be almost the cost of some of these other platforms. So do the math, figure out what makes sense to you, and then as quickly as you can, get the 0% commission add-on. Now, if you look at the Skillplate website, they have a section for integrations. And if you click on that, you see like 177 apps they integrate with, and there's a huge long list. I see some of my favorites on there, like Ghost CMS. Exciting, maybe I can integrate this with my Ghost website, or you might see something else that you use that excites you. And it looks like there's like a native integration with these tools. Nowhere on the page does it say that there's not. It just says you can build the integration. That's the word, build. There's no real integrations with these tools. You have to use webhooks and APIs to build the bridges yourself. So if you're using N8N or Zapier or one of these other connecting tools, there's ways to get data in and out, but they're not true integrations like you might expect. So not a deal breaker, but just kind of some misleading communication there, in my opinion. Next, let's talk about emails. Skillplate has quite a few email templates built in. You can even set up your own custom SMTP server so that you can maximize your deliverability. But what is Skillplate not? It is definitely not a full marketing email service provider. You're likely going to have to keep whatever you're using for that right now. So ConvertKit or Beehive or MailChimp or ActiveCampaign, whatever you're using, you'll probably want to continue to use that alongside of Skillplate. It's not going to do your email marketing for you, but it will alert your students when things change or, payments don't go through and they need to renew their credit card or whatever. That's all there, but the other stuff, the marketing stuff, that's not. It is worthy to note that there is no affiliate system or referral system built into Skillplate for you as a creator to have affiliates selling your products or services. I would love for them to add this, but it does not exist right now. However, if you use a third-party tool that has some tracking scripts, that is going to work just fine. There is a dedicated section in the settings where you can inject code into various parts of the website that it builds for you. So it's the landing page, the portal, whatever it is, you can get attribution where it needs to go. So make sure you set that up correctly. It should work with most major affiliate programs. And I mentioned this earlier, but the webhooks and external API support, that's a pleasant surprise on a rather young AppSumo tool. So you'll be able to do users, enrollments, orders, subscriptions, discounts, all controlled via webhooks or API. So webhooks being data going out, and then the API can be your tools talking to Skillhook. That's a great way to escape the rather opinionated UI. Just control everything with your agent or inside of an N8N workflow, and then you can integrate it with your other tools, as I already mentioned. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Who is this for? If you're selling courses and digital files and you want speed over perfect design control, maybe you're fine with using Stripe and you're also already using Discord for your community, well, this is going to be a perfect fit for you. Just make sure you understand the commission obligations and get ready to pony up the $700 to get that eliminated as quickly as possible. But who is Skillplate not for? Well, I would say a few type of people come to mind. Number one is if you are selling community as the primary product, you're not going to love this tool. As I've already discussed, it's just a gateway into Discord, at least at this stage of the game. I don't know if they're going to improve that later on. Also, if you're a self-hosting person that wants to have infinite customizability and you really need to get everything just how you like it, well, this is going to be a problem. On the flip side of that, uptime is now someone else's problem. So if you're a self-hoster, there's pros and cons to all of this. So pick the side that you like and then go all in on it. Both are valid and both can work in the right scenario. So bottom line is that Skillplate is a very good product for course creators and people who want to sell digital downloads, especially if you understand what you are buying and you've done the LTD versus commission math. There are some very real rough edges, but they are not showstoppers. This is not the type of product that everyone must buy instantly and migrate to. I would never say that, but it is very, very good quality for the right creator. I'm going to give it an 8.1 out of 10. My name is Dave. I hope you've enjoyed this tool teardown. If you have, make sure you get subscribed, hit the like button so the algorithm knows that this content was helpful to you. Consider leaving me a comment down below if you've got any questions or you just want to say what's up. I'd greatly appreciate it. I will see you in the next one.